Crust Network, the chain to decentralized cloud. Now the reason I'm talking about Crust Network in this video is because they're actually offering a decentralized storage solution for the Polkadot ecosystem. They're actually contributing to it, and they've received funding from the Web3 Foundation too as part of Wave 6, which was quite a while ago. And if you're not sure what the Web3 Foundation is and how they fund different projects, actually I have done a dedicated video recently on the Wave 9 funding, which is the latest one that the Web3 Foundation have provided. It's basically a large corporation that is funding various small projects like startups to contribute to the Polkadot ecosystem mostly. So that's what the Web3 Foundation is at a high level. Now, so what is Crust, you may be asking? Well, it supports multiple storage layer protocols such as IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System, which is basically used for storage and for sharing of data in a distributed file system. Now, it does expose storage interfaces to the application layer, and Crust's technical stack is also capable of supporting a decentralized computing layer. It is designed to build a decentralized cloud ecosystem that values data privacy and ownership. Now, aside from proof of work, they've also got guaranteed by storage resources called guaranteed proof of stake, which we'll take a quick look at in their white paper in the tokenomics section, because I really want to talk about that a bit. I mean, the way they're explaining it there is just really simple to understand and to grasp, and why you actually need to have some storage in order to guarantee the stake, in order to guarantee that you're going to be validating those blocks. And of course, they've got a decentralized cloud storage and computing too. Now, the product, this is how it's going to look. Of course, this is just a demo of how it looks. We don't actually have a dApp that we can access right now to see how this looks. It is being tested at the moment. It's still in the testing phase, but it's coming, right? It's coming, and they've got the funding. So now that they have the funding, they're going to be building. Now, it is cheap, apparently. They've got privacy too, hardware encryption and so on, and it's also fast. Because it's accelerated through the storage nodes everywhere, and we're going to be looking at the nodes in a moment when we look at the tokenomics and the shorter version of the white paper. There's also an enterprise version too. Now, these guys do have a competitor, so don't think that they don't. They've got Filecoin as a competitor with a storage solution. I have not done a dedicated review on Filecoin, but I will at some point, just to kind of maybe have a look at them and then kind of compare the two. But for now, the focus is just on Crust Network. Now, as you can see, they've come a long way, all the way from 2018 they've been building. That's when the core team was put together. They've had a testnet in Q1 of 2020. The Maxwell testnet was at the end of 2020, so it took them a full year now. And with the pandemic and all, it made life harder, but a lot of them are probably working remotely anyway. Now, the mainnet is estimated to happen in Q1 of 2021, so we could expect at any time now. And this is their team here. So we've got the Bova Chen, who's the co-founder, and actually two co-founders here. Leo Wang is also a co-founder. So this guy here, like Leo Wang, he's got 15 plus years experience in the IT industry, and he's worked in Microsoft and Cisco. So he's got a lot of networking experience now with Cisco and of course Microsoft, which is a giant, right? He's got a lot of experience in distributed storage, cloud computing, and blockchain. So I think this is another reason why the Web3 Foundation helped this team and actually funded them. As you can see here, this is their core development team and so on. Now, some of the partnerships they have are with Bitsump, which they're actually listed on. So aside from them being listed as partners, they are listed on Bitsump. So this token is tradable at the moment. It is an ERC20 token, so they're on the Ethereum blockchain for now, but we'll have to see if they're going to move to Substrate eventually, right? Because they are helping Polkadot and a few other partners here. Now, a lot of these are unfamiliar to me, except for of course Fala Network, NGC Ventures, and the Web3 Foundation themselves. Now, you can follow them on social media too. But this is how it looks, right? This is one of their testing pools here, so you can actually choose a trading pool to stake the LP token. Crust already. They've got the pool share here, so you can basically manage these pools already. You can connect your wallet, which would be your MetaMask wallet, because they're on the Ethereum blockchain. But I'm not going to focus too much on the pool in this video, just because I really want to talk about the project more than doing a tutorial. Now they're in the testing phase at the moment, as you can see, for mainnet. They've got the Crust Network on testnet called Profit Arc, and there is no information here. I mean, it's just been loading for me, like I haven't been able to get anything at the moment, so I'm not sure if I need to enter some miner ID here to be able to see it or something else. But just to reiterate here that on the Web3 Foundation GitHub page, they have received the funding as part of Wave 6, which was the second quarter of 2020. Crust Network is shown up here. And if we look at their Twitter page, I mean, one of the latest updates that they've done here, that they've posted 17 hours ago, is in relation to their partnership with Moonbeam. And I would like to do a dedicated video on Moonbeam probably later on this week, because I know that Moonbeam is another big project building on Polkadot. And of course, they are tradable. Like I said, an ERC20 token, 1 million is the current circulating supply. It is growing, but it's trading at $7.79, and it's on the bigger exchanges here. It's already on Huobi Global, Bitstamp, and so on, and also on Uniswap. But this is just to kind of reiterate all the different projects that I've been talking about from the Polkadot ecosystem that are getting listed on Huobi. The majority of them are getting listed on Huobi. Seems to be related to those that are receiving the Web3 Foundation funding. I think Huobi is more flexible with them. For example, Chainx has not received funding from the Web3 Foundation, nor did they want to receive it. So maybe that's why they're not actually listed on Huobi yet, but hopefully we'll see them listed there too. But to get back to Crust here, let's take a look at their white paper. Now this is the short version. It's the actual economy paper here, but it's part of the white paper overall. Now, so the consensus, they're talking about the consensus of Ethereum and so on here, but the important part is how you can actually participate in the Crust ecosystem, because you as a person that maybe are interested in holding the token, you may be interested to know how you can participate, right? So there are multiple parties in the entire Crust system. As we can see here, they've got different needs, so we need to divide them into different types. There's the validators, which we're very familiar with. I've spoken about them many times on this channel. Basically, the validators are the nodes that are validating the blocks on the blockchain. Then the candidates, the guarantors, and the users. Now, the users are actually the ones that are paying for the storage service. So you as a customer, maybe you want to use blockchain technology to store, and you're thinking of using Crust Network because they're cheaper than other solutions. So you are the customer in that case. There are the merchants too. So the merchants are the nodes in the network that provide the storage resources and storage retrieval services. Merchants can provide users with storage resources and services through the storage trading market and obtain profits. We've got the validators here. So the validators are the nodes that generate the blocks and include the blocks in a package in the Crust network to maintain the entire blockchain network. According to the GPOS guaranteed proof of stake consensus of the Crust network, the validator nodes needs to stay online, which is normal, right? This is what we see with other nodes 24/7, but the difference here is that they need to have sufficient storage resources and workload as a guarantee to stake in the corresponding amount of CRU tokens. Now, the native tokens in the Crust network are described in the detail in the next chapter, but the validator node is also a node that provides storage resources. The validator nodes participating in the network can obtain the rewards for the packaged blocks individually and share the reward of each cycle of the blockchain, but also need to bear the risk of being slashed. The validator can also be a merchant that can obtain profits by selling storage resources on the storage trading market. So that's interesting, right? As a validator, you've got two different options here. The candidates are nodes that compete in the Crust network to become a validator but do not qualify for verification. Like the validator, the candidate also needs to stay online and possess storage resources and workload as a guarantee to stake in the corresponding amount of CRU tokens. The difference from the validator node is that the candidate node does not participate in the generation of the block and cannot receive the exclusive reward for the block generation. Candidate nodes can obtain the reward share of each cycle of the blockchain, and at the same time they can also be a merchant to sell storage resources. So here's one of the smaller disadvantages of being a candidate, is that you don't actually generate the blocks like the validators do. Now, candidates and validators are not fixed. Their identities may change every cycle, which is mainly based on the staking number of tokens at the end of the cycle. So I'm assuming what they're saying here is that if a candidate or a validator with a bigger stake than you have, takes over, or a number of them come over, right, on the network, they may actually drop you in the ranks, right? Because we've seen this with other blockchains too. Now the guarantors are the people like maybe you and I that don't want to run a validator but just want to stake and they want to get rewarded. So the guarantor is an account provided by one or more nodes in the Crust network. Accounts with CRU tokens can become guarantors, and their CRUs can be used as guarantee assets, and the guarantor can obtain guarantee income from the node and shall also bear the penalty risk of its guaranteed nodes in proportion. So of course, if you're staking with a node which is going to get slashed, then you will also get your reward slashed. So you need to be careful, and here's where it's important to probably always switch from node to node, from validator to validator, or maybe it's even more important to think distributed, right? Think distributed. Split the nodes. Don't stake everything on one node, because if that gets slashed, then your rewards are going to get slashed and you're going to be impacted in your passive income, because I'm assuming that's where you're investing and that's where you're staking. And again, this isn't financial advice or anything. This is for educational purposes only, but it's just to kind of explain to you what you could expect if you plan to stake. And of course, the users, last but not least, are the people that are actually applying the Crust Network resources, and they refer to those involved in storage and computing resources who can also use the CRU tokens supported in the Crust Network to purchase resource services. So that's how you can actually purchase. As you can see here, this is a map of how it looks. The validators, the revenue, the guarantors, and the users, the cost, and also all of this sort of information here. So yeah, and then the Crust token, right? We need to talk about the tokenomics. Now the native token is called CRU. Okay, now similar to Ethereum and DOT, of course, in the Polkadot ecosystem. Now in the Crust network, the CRU token mainly has the following functions: staking to maintain the GPOS consensus, used to guarantee the selected node, serving as a guaranteed deposit for providing resource services, serving as a transaction fee, so it's also the fuel, and used to purchase resource services. So it's got a lot of use cases. It's a real utility token here. You can see that very, very clearly. Now if we scroll down, because I don't want to be spending too much time reading on that, but I want to spend some time on the tokenomics here, because that may interest you. Now, generation and burning. There are two ways to generate CRU tokens. One is generated at one time when the main network is initiated. The other is generated as blocks are produced. Now, the number of Genesis blocks as Crust initiated main network is actually 20 million. Okay, so not that many if you think about it. Now, this is how they're going to be split between community development and so on, but the tokens generated by the block have rewards every cycle, and the points can also be redeemed for rewards. The rewards are mainly for participating nodes in the network to maintain the security, of course, as they've mentioned further up, but there will be a halving event, right? So how are they actually going to do it? So there's the total distribution for the first year is going to be 5 million. So that means we're going to have 25 million, because we have the initial 20 million at Genesis and 5 million after. Now, following from the second year onwards, it will be reduced by 12% each year and will not decrease until the inflation rate of the whole network reaches 2.8%. The specific data is as follows. So this is how it's going to be, right? This is the inflation rate. As you can see, it's decreasing from year to year. This is how many are going to be issued. And I'm assuming this is unlimited, right? Because you need to support the network. But the fact that the inflation is going to get to 2.8%, it's going to be very, very low. So it's not really going to matter anymore, right? Because the percentage is very low. And of course, 10 years is a very long time. Just looking at this map alone, right? So yeah, overall, I do think that they're doing really well in terms of the whole model and how it's going to work. And if we take a look at their GitHub page here, we can see they're working, right? 2 days ago, there have been updates here to the node, to the RPC, to the scripts, and so on. And they've got 6 contributors here. Now, there could be more contributors. This is all I'm seeing because I'm not personally logged into GitHub at the moment. We can see they're building on Substrate too. And they've likely released the Ethereum version of the token just to maybe get some kind of income at the moment, or to get people trading, to get people to hold, and maybe they're going to do a token swap. I'm assuming that's the plan, right? Hence why there isn't that much in circulation at the moment. But yeah, they are supporting, you know, programming languages that are well known, like Rust, for example. C, Python is also known only a little bit though, and Go as well. So yeah, overall, just my final thoughts on this project. I do think they have a great potential just because the Web3 Foundation are funding them. They are using a storage solution, and storage is necessary in the cryptocurrency space. We need decentralized storage. The fact that you'll be able to share files and so on the blockchain, and everything is going to be transparent, yeah, that's great. And also the privacy aspect of it, because you don't want everybody to be able to see your files, right? You want to know that you sent a file to somebody, but you don't want to know, you don't want somebody else, like a third party, to see the contents of the file. So overall, I do think that Crust have good potential, and I will be following them very closely just to keep an eye out on their updates and see what's going on. But that's it from today's video. I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and see you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.